If you have red, itchy, oozing, burning skin, then we need to talk about cryotherapy. Cryotherapy is basically ice therapy in lots of different ways, and we're going to talk about all those different ways to get the benefits of basically lowering inflammation and getting that redness to come down, getting that itchiness to come down. Cryotherapy is awesome if you are someone dealing with eczema, TSW, pain, inflammation. These are all reasons to do cryotherapy. So today, Tori and I are going to talk about this. This is something we often recommend to our clients and patients who are dealing with inflammatory things like eczema and TSW. So Tori, welcome today. And I'm excited to talk about this because I want to help people find a little bit of relief. I know that we deal with a lot of people who can't sleep. They can't, even live in their skin. And so this can really provide some relief. So thank you for joining me in this conversation today.
Yeah, good to be here. And I agree. It's a great tool to have for sure.
All right, so our agenda, we're going to try to get this done in 30 minutes so that you guys can get off to lunch and get off to doing what you need to do on your Tuesday afternoon. So for the next 15 minutes, we're just going to talk about cryotherapy and, how does it provide some eczema and TSW relief? And then for the next 15 minutes from 11:30 to 11:45, we're going to ask you to ask as many questions as you'd like. We'd love to answer all of those questions. It could be about cryotherapy. It could be about eczema relief. So, definitely start typing in those questions in the comments box, and we're happy to answer those. So what is cryotherapy? Well, cryotherapy essentially is ice therapy. It's just cold therapy. And there's so many ways to do this. So Tori, what are some of your favorite ways when we're working with eczema and TSW clients? What are some of your favorite ways to have people do cryotherapy?
Yeah, you can do it at home. You can use something like an ice pack, so like your basic ice pack. You can take a cold shower. That can be really helpful before bed, especially really cold water on the skin. Ice rollers, which are great to kind of roll across the skin and just kind of cool everything down. So those are some easy ways that everybody can access cold therapy. Not quite as cold as you get in a facility, but you can absolutely find a cryotherapy facility that does what this picture shows, which is like a full body cryotherapy, or you could even do spot treatment, which is like one part of the body. Even facials can be really helpful if you have a lot of eczema on your face or your eyes, around the mouth, things like that. That can be really helpful to get a cryotherapy facial. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but yeah, ice is really an easy way to do it. Ice packs is a great, easy way that everybody can, use that today.
Yeah, and this is kind of a super secret weapon that you can use to lower that inflammation, to get that inflammation down. The redness, the burning, the oozing, all of that can really be helped with cryotherapy. And it's awesome because it's actually something you can do at home. So what we're seeing here in this picture is cryotherapy that you would actually do in a facility, so a wellness center, and you would go and step into a chamber and you would be in a whole body cryotherapy chamber. So that's really great, especially if you have TSW, and we'll talk about what TSW or topical steroid withdrawal is in a second. But it's when your whole body is red and burning and oozing, and this is really great for that. Or if you have whole body eczema, if you have only targeted spots, then targeted cryotherapy is really good. And on this next slide, we can see there are a couple targeted cryotherapy treatments you could do. So we really like the ice roller. It's super inexpensive. You can buy it at home. And the link is in my bio. You can go ahead and go to my product recommendations and get the ice roller. So you stick it in the freezer, you let it sit there. Whenever you are itchy, you grab it and then you start rolling. And what's great about it is it's cold, so it lowers that inflammation. We'll talk a little bit about that science in a second. But you're also kind of getting that itch action by
Yeah.
rolling it over that area so it kind of feels good. A lot of times the lymphatic system is really congested. So by rolling it over that area, you're kind of getting that lymphatic system moving. Tori, have you recommended this and have people said that they really like this as something to just kind of use as more immediate relief?
Yeah, especially like you just said, to help even with the itchiness, because instead of using like your fingernails and like cutting up your skin and irritating your eczema even worse, so then you wake up covered in, you know, open wounds and sores and things like that. It's a nice way that that cooling from the ice feels really good. It's soothing, but you're also kind of like scratching the itch a little bit too. So
Yeah.
it's a nice thing to kind of both at the same time so that you're not, you know, causing more damage for sure.
Yeah. And, when you're scratching with your nails, you're kind of getting all that bacteria that's on your nails and on your skin. And that's part of the reason we flare a lot is because we're having microbiome imbalance. So one thing I would recommend is make sure to keep that thing clean. Right before you actually use it, you could spray it with hypochlorous acid, which we have a product called Clean Skin Calm. You can spray it with that, and that's kind of a good thing to do so that you're making sure that you're not getting bacteria all over your skin as well. So that's a nice thing that you can try to do. So then you can also go to a wellness center and do targeted cryotherapy. So we're seeing the picture right here. If you kind of just want to hone in on one spot. And of course, when you do this in a wellness center, they're really gonna it's going to be stronger than what you'll be able to do at home. So that could be something that could really provide some nice relief. So how does cryotherapy work? Well, that ice cold does a couple of things. For abnormal cells, it can actually kill those cells that are abnormal. So it can really help kind of kill abnormal cells. Pain relief. So if you have a lot of inflammation, we know if we sprain our ankle, what are we going to do? We're going to put ice therapy on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what is that going to do? That's going to lower the inflammation. And so it's the same when you have eczema or inflammation on the skin, you're just having inflammation. And so it's just like when you sprain your ankle and you put ice on there, it's the same thing. We're just lowering that inflammation. When you have eczema and you're really red, you're actually getting increased blood flow to that area because there's so much inflammation in that area. And so what cryotherapy does is it actually constricts all those vessels. And so that's where it can really address that redness, that burning sensation that you might be getting. And some other things you might notice are actually a stimulated nervous system. So if you're someone whose hormones are just kind of like, you're flatlined, your adrenals just aren't working really well. This can actually wake you up and get your hormones moving. And so it's another thing that people like to do to just kind of get those hormones, back in order. People do like to use this even for weight loss. So that's something that can stimulate metabolism. And then reduce oxidative stress. So oxidative stress is what causes a lot of our inflammation. It's what causes cancer. It's what causes, cellular problems and chronic disease. And so overall, cryotherapy can be really great. And we even recommend, Tori, we recommend something to do on a daily basis that's hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold that actually has cryotherapy. So tell us about contrast showers and how that can be something you actually do at home that can be really helpful.
Yeah, and the key word is contrast. So you really want it to be like pretty cold, probably uncomfortably cold for most people, like where it's a very distinct temperature change. So you're going from like your warm shower, especially with eczema and TSW, that a hot shower, a lot of times it doesn't feel good to people because they're already feeling really hot, and then that hot water is kind of making it worse. But yeah, that can increase the heat, that you're giving off in your body. So contrasting that with really, really cold is a great way to kind of deal with that. But it also just helps the adrenals. It helps the nervous system. It's a great reset for both of those, kind of jumping you back into a different set on your nervous system where you're not just in fight or flight, but it's kind of like resetting that. So that can be really helpful. But like I said, I think the key to that is a lot of people will try this and they don't make the water as cold as it should be. So make sure that, you're really turning the knob like all the way over so that you're getting a really cold blast for a few seconds. I mean, at least maybe even a little bit longer, so that, you really feel cold. You want your skin to feel cold to the touch, and then you can go right back to warm.
This is awesome to do in the morning. It wakes up
Yep.
all your hormones. If you're someone who's kind of flatlining, if you notice like at nighttime, you're more of a night owl, it's really hard for you to wake up in the morning. It can actually be great to do these hot, cold showers, contrast showers. It'll just wake you up right in the morning. And it really helps improve that blood flow. It helps lymphatic movement. And so it's something that you can do, especially if you have eczema, TSW, things like that. You potentially don't want to go too hot with the water if you have really open and scalded, wounded skin. So that's one thing to note, though, where you can kind of do more like warm, cold instead. But, so 2 things you can do at home to just start cryotherapy is get an ice roller, use some ice packs, and then do hot, cold contrast showers or warm, cold contrast showers. Those are some things you could do to just get started with cryotherapy. If you're noticing that that's really helping, then you may want to think about going to a wellness center and trying some cryotherapy. You can see on YouTube, I just posted a video of myself and my sisters. We actually went to try out a whole body cryotherapy at Restore Wellness, which you can find all over the nation, actually. And with the whole body cryotherapy, they went in and it was only 3 minutes, and you can kind of see the whole process if you're interested in seeing that. So just go to my YouTube. The link is in my bio. Okay. So, why is this so helpful for someone with TSW, or what we call red skin syndrome, is because, as you can see, there's a lot of redness on the skin. Now, why is this happening? Well, because you have stopped the steroids. We call this topical steroid withdrawal. You have stopped the steroids, and now there's vasodilation happening. That means the vessels are opening up and blood is flowing, and now your skin is getting really, really red. And so that's where the cryotherapy of any sort can lower that redness. So ice, grab some ice in any way, get that cold water on the skin as well. And for TSW and severe eczema, it can be really helpful. Tori, tell us a little bit about, I know we talked about like how it works. We talked about some of the benefits. And I know we're talking about how we can use it for eczema and TSW, but what other things have you heard people use cryotherapy for?
Yeah. And I just want to add really quick with the eczema and TSW, it is definitely, at least in my clinical experience, I've seen it help for a pretty extended period of time. So for some people, if they do a cryotherapy session, like a whole body session, they feel relief for a couple of days and then they can do another. So it's pretty long lasting as far as like the itchiness and that burning. So if you are going through like a flare up, it's a great tool to just schedule like a couple of times a week, maybe just for a few weeks until your skin calms down. But it definitely provides like pretty lasting relief. It's not just like an acute, where it's just in that 3 minutes that you're in there, it lasts for a while. But yeah, so there's a lot of other benefits too. You kind of mentioned before that you kind of get an energy boost, which is, most people say they feel really good right when they come out. The last 30 seconds is pretty cold, just, as a warning, you feel pretty cold, but when you come out, you've got just a burst of energy, which can enhance your mood. There's a lot of mood enhancement, so it's great for that. Stress reduction, just kind of resetting the nervous system in general. It's really cold. I think I can't remember the exact number, but I want to say like a negative 200 degrees. Is that right, Dr. Fong? I think it's like
it's something
really, really cold.
Crazy like that.
And it sounds, wild that you can withstand that, but you can. You cover your hands and your feet are covered, and it's not as crazy as it sounds once you're in there. It's a little cold, but it's manageable. Great for athletes if you are working out a lot, or you have sore muscles, or you're just an athletic person, you play sports. It's great to help get recovery going, and just enhances how well you recover and can prevent soreness and relieve soreness. So if you're having a lot of pain or muscle soreness, it's a great tool for that as well. And then there is just some research on actually improving athletic performance in general. So the benefits of it, after the fact, is that you're performing better in your sport. So that's something to keep in mind if you are an athletic person. So tons of other side effects that are beneficial of doing cryotherapy. It's not just for the skin, but there can be a lot of enhancements. Like you said, weight loss can be a benefit. It helps the metabolic rate a little bit, kind of jump starts it. So there's definitely, it's worth trying for any of those reasons. It doesn't just have to be for our skin people, but for other people as well. Pain and inflammation is another reason too. So I think it's worth trying for most people, honestly.
Yeah, people use it for just beauty and anti-aging as well too. So there's a lot of really great benefits. So definitely check it out. Check out my YouTube video about it. I just posted it. So I'd love to open it up to questions. If you guys have any questions about eczema and TSW relief using cryotherapy or any other eczema and TSW questions, would be great. And somebody is asking what to eat before and after. So I wouldn't recommend going in on a full stomach, but I do think, Tori, do you remember? I do think you are supposed to have eaten a meal, like you're not necessarily supposed to be fasting. Do you remember what those requirements are before?
I would agree with you. Like, I wouldn't go in with like a hefty meal sitting in my stomach, but you certainly don't need to fast for an extended period of time. And I agree with you. I think there might be some benefit to having food within a few hours of going afterwards. I would say some people will probably get that metabolic and boost where, you know, your metabolism's kind of kicked in. So you might feel a little bit hungry, you know, within an hour. I would just make sure that you replenish with protein, make sure that you're getting protein in after the fact. That would be, you know, not a heavy meal on either end, right? You wouldn't want either side before or after to be like a real hefty meal.
Yeah. And when my sisters did it, I actually couldn't do it. So my sisters did it for me. They were starving afterwards. So, and I think that they hadn't eaten too much beforehand. And it definitely does increase that metabolism, and it'll get that system going where you're going to almost feel like you worked out and you want some food, and protein is really, yes, definitely one of the best things to do right after that, you know, if you can. So great question. All right. Any other questions about eczema and TSW relief using cryotherapy, using any other therapies as well? You know, we're happy to talk about any type of relief for eczema and TSW. I think cryotherapy I have found to be one of the fastest and easiest ways to get the relief the quickest. You know, other things that I have found to be helpful are just lymphatic massage using a massage gun. Even there's a point called large intestine 11. It's right here on your elbow that you can massage as well too. Those are all possibilities for getting eczema relief. But I think cryotherapy is one of the quickest ways of getting that immediate inflammation coming down and redness coming down and all of that. And I think you just kind of have to get used to the feeling of the really cold sensation.
Yeah.
And a great place again to start is just get some ice packs at home. You know, make sure that they're clean. I would say just because if you have eczema or TSW, you're probably going to have some open wounds on your skin. So make sure they're clean. If you have our product Clean Skin Calm, you could just spray it on there beforehand. Before using it, or put a towel or put something over it, you know, when you're using it. Just we want to make sure that you're not exposing yourself to other bacteria and other things that might be in your freezer, you know, that you want to keep clean. And then the ice roller, really great. So check out our product recommendations. And then just those hot, cold showers. And I would say for eczema people, more like warm, cold showers.
Yeah.
All right. Tori, do you have anything else to share in terms of pearls of wisdom, in terms of cryotherapy and eczema and TSW relief?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, the spot cryotherapy, I've done both. I've done the whole body one, and my daughter has actually used the spot treatment many times just for like ankle sprains or like muscle type injuries from athletics. So that's something to use it for too. That's not skin related, but it is pretty fascinating how they do it, and they kind of monitor the temperature of the surface of the skin. So that's something to note if you are using ice packs at home. Please do not put an ice pack on, you know, a part of your body and leave it there for like an endless amount of time, because that can be dangerous. You can actually get like a damage to your skin if you leave ice on your skin for too long. So you want to make sure that you rotate it on and off for like 20 minutes on, take it off for, you know, like 20 or 30 minutes before you put it back on again. when you're at a facility and they're using a spot treatment, they are monitoring that your skin isn't getting too cold too quickly, and they try to cool it down to a certain temperature. So it's very well controlled. And it's pretty fascinating. You could see the inflammation actually go down. So if you have something swollen, you could see the swelling kind of dissipate in just a few minutes. And it really helps with pain relief. So that's just a side note from my personal experience, but not just for skin, but for all kinds of aches and pains. It's definitely manageable and easy to do. And it's cheaper. Like if you have a spot, it's much cheaper than doing the full body. Both are pretty affordable, but just to kind of add that as an option for people, if you just have an area of your skin that's flared up, you don't have to spend, $30 or $50 every time. Sometimes they have options that are much cheaper than that too.
Yeah, and I agree with what you said earlier. There are some long-lasting benefits where I have patients who will do it 3 times a week, like people who are really severe with eczema or have severe TSW. They'll do it 3 times a week, and they find that that's enough. Like they'll do it, let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something like that. And in between those sessions, they notice the relief, and then a day or 2 days later, they'll notice, okay, I'd like to do it again. But the great thing is you're not just lowering that inflammation for that short period of time. You are potentially helping that skin to heal faster, for that inflammation to come down, for that immune system to regulate, for the hormones to regulate. So it can be really great as a healing mechanism, not only a relief mechanism. So I think cryotherapy can be great in that way. If you do have eczema or TSW and you haven't taken our eczema root cause quiz yet, definitely check it out. The link is in my bio, and it'll give you a lot of in-depth understanding of the root causes of your eczema. If you are interested in taking that root cause quiz info and meeting with me and diving a little bit deeper, if you joined our live today, we'd like to give you 30% off. Use the code IGDC30. The link is in my bio, and we do have a money back guarantee on that consultation. All right. Tori, thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you everyone who participated, and we will be back Wednesday. All right.